As another studio and game gets shut down, it's time to analyze if it's feasible to truly make a game that could dethrone Call of Duty. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer. With me is a man who has an idea or two for what Ubisoft could do instead of trying to wade into the Call of Duty competition. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, lay it on us.
Focus on Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed only. I want two mainline releases every year.
Yep.
I want at least an Origins every year, and I want a remake of an Origins every year.
Okay.
And probably a new Rayman game.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hang on.
Remake Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Okay. All right. I'm checking with the
Or whatever. Was
the
that
crowd.
the first one?
Yeah. Well, no, but yes. Not the first Ghost Recon, but the first one you're saying that was like the whole
first
like
one,
yeah. It was Wildlands, right? Breakpoint was the second one.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, no, the people are thumbs up all around. They like
Good.
this idea.
Took a lot of thought.
Yeah. It felt like it.
Typically, only the best French people in the world could come up with a scheme like that, but here we are.
Before we dive into more about Ubisoft and the efforts in which companies go to try and make a Call of Duty competitor, tell me about your week. Tell me about the games you played.
Well, I played more Ghost of Tsushima. Big fan.
Very nice.
Still enjoying that. Did I tell you that Justine played that? I can't remember if that was this past week or the week before.
I don't believe so.
So, she likes riding the horse around and picking flowers, which works great for me.
Yeah.
So she'll just play and do that, and then every time she accidentally finds herself in a conflict, she throws the controller at me, and I kill people, and then I give it back.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, it's great. I get to do all the fun stuff. Well, the fun for me stuff. She gets to do all the fun for her stuff, and that's that.
That's fantastic. Wow, way to turn that into a couple's activity.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I'm looking around and thumbs up from the crowd once again.
Good. It's my night.
Oh man, that's fantastic. I really love that. I
Yeah.
can also imagine the like, oh shit, and then tossing the controller.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's going on with the screen, because it does like the thing that you're being seen, and then it just kind of shakes, and yeah, and then the controller heads my way at haste. Yeah, it works. So I played a little bit of that. I have since I'm no longer an Xbox Maxi and I can just talk shit on them. I went to go play Star Wars Outlaws. Another great Ubisoft game. And of course I didn't, because I clicked on it and said this game needs an update. So Xbox, there's a setting that it'll update any game that you've played within the last like 28 days or something like that. Which like kind of cool, because if you don't play Call of Duty for 28 days and they put an absolute nuke of an update out there, like you're not going to get it unless you try to play it. Of course, when you go to play it, you're not going to be able to for a couple of weeks, but I'm certain I've played Star Wars Outlaws in the last 28 days. And it wasn't updated. And this happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I don't know why it doesn't work. It didn't. It used to. It used to be fine. Like on the Xbox One, I never had that issue.
My like biggest complaint is like I think on PlayStation, I don't even know if they like specify a certain time frame, or like
I don't
if it needs to be on like your home menu or something like that.
I
Or
don't think they do. I think they just update.
well, so like that's the thing. Like I have automatic updates on, and like if it's just flat out on, just update everything.
Yeah.
I'll tell you if I don't want something updated. If it's on my PlayStation, it's safe to assume that like at some point I'm going to want to play it. So just keep it updated for me so that way when the time comes, I can just play it. Again, I will decide like the moment comes where I need to delete it, I delete it, right? Like that's fine. My shit is never updated.
Really?
Never. And like games that are on in that like I don't know what like last 10 games or something like that, last 8 games, whatever shows up before you have to like go to the my library section and then like comb for a game. It like shows your most recent games. Like MLB The Show will be there. I won't have played it for I don't know, a couple of days. An update will have happened within those days that I didn't play it. I'll go to play it and it's like, nope, update. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Mm.
And it's like it takes like 2 minutes or whatever, because normally like these smaller updates and stuff like that. But like, goddamn, the worst is when I go to play and I'm in the game for about 2 minutes and then I get the notification, oh, there's an update. That shit grinds my gears.
Yeah. It's a hard balance. And like there's a couple of games, particularly on Xbox, that I just leave open and quick resume. Like
Mm-hmm.
college football or Madden, for example. Like there'll be times where um I'll leave a game halfway through, but I'll leave it up. I'll just put my console in sleep mode and I'll turn my console on and I'll go back into college football and it'll completely like restart the game because it had to do an update. And it's like, this is the time you choose to do it?
Yeah, no, like that's dumb.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
It's terrible. It's so bad. Like it's to the point where like if I have an inkling that I'm going to want to play a game in a week, I just go in and manually update it.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going to play something else, but
Have you ever had a time where I feel like this has happened, but maybe I'm just insane? I feel like I've like gone and like hit like the manual check for update, and then I've gotten this stupid, oh, this game's up to date, and then I've gone to play it, and I'm telling you, like 2 minutes in, it goes, there's an update. I feel like
Mhm.
that's happened. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm making that up, but like I feel like that's happened to me, and that's like again just like makes me violent.
Yeah, so I think instead of getting the next console, I'm just gonna go back to playing PS2.
That's yeah. That's there you go. I think
No
you're onto
updates there.
something. I mean, you could go back to PS3.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
not going to be any updates there anymore, I don't think.
Don't say that too loud. Last time I turned on my PS3, there was an update, and I had like updated it within a year before that.
There was an update for the console.
The console, yeah.
Yeah, they do those from time to time for like I think for just various security things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cuz
Could you
now
imagine like you set up your PS2 because you're like, thank God, physical discs that actually read from the disc, no updates. And you start a game up, you get the PS2 menu and or like the noise and not necessarily the menu. You get to the start menu of the screen, you hit start, and some guy just walks in, presses the eject button, pulls the disc out, smashes it against the wall, and puts a new disc in and said update, and then just walked out. Like, could you imagine?
I mean, I can now. I think you painted it perfectly.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it. And I would not be a fan personally. And I'm looking around
Yeah.
and thumbs down from the crowd.
Thumbs down from the crowd.
They're also not fans of it.
There's
Uh,
one guy with a thumbs up, and it's just the guy in the suit that
it's
does the
the guy.
updates.
It's the guy. Oh man. Okay, so you went. All of this is to say you went and attempted to play Star Wars Outlaws and
Yeah, and
could
it was
not.
like a 40 gig update. So
Oh my
yeah,
god.
Xbox. Yeah, maybe they're making the game. Maybe they're appeasing the internet crowd with a big update. I don't know.
Maybe.
I didn't get a chance to play it, so Xbox got turned off, and Ghost of Tsushima back on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um, any other games?
On Thanksgiving, played Mario Party.
Hell yeah.
We didn't do a 30 round game. I think we did a 20, and that was an adventure. That was long. It took a while.
Yeah. Where like people's eyes like rolling to the back of their heads because they were like, this is too much.
Pretty much.
They they wouldn't have been able to survive the streets we grew up on.
Yeah.
50 rounds,
What
Mario Party 4.
what did the great philosopher say? You wouldn't last a minute in the asylum they raised me.
Yeah. That was Socrates, right?
I think so. Swifter teaser. Um. Yeah. So needless to say, I had the endurance to pull that one out.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. Very good. Very good. Any big
Um.
brain moves that like broke people?
Certainly ones that pissed people off.
Yeah.
So it was me, Justine, and my brother, and then one bot, and it was Birdo. So of course we were just trying to mug Birdo as much as possible. Like that was the collective goal. Like
Sure.
that's a win. Um, we were doing the racetrack, and on my
Such
last
a good map.
turn, it is on my second to last turn. I used the 4 block thing you can do, but it doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
And I got within one space of the star.
Oh man.
I was like, perfect roll, love it. The star was on the bottom track. Or no,
Mhm.
sorry, it was on the top track. And the space before that was the one that makes Thwomp come out and chase you past the star.
Ah.
Yeah. And I had a buddy
Ah.
that I had won like just the round before. Uh so yeah, that sucked. So then I had like 200 plus coins.
Right.
So then I had to resort to violence and just went to Boo
There you go.
and um stole one from Birdo even though she wasn't a threat, but I just wanted her to end with 0 stars. And then I had another one to steal,
Right,
and
because of the buddy.
this put me in the lead. And at that point, like before my turn, Justine had the most stars. I think she had 5. I had 3. Chris had 4. And so he he went up to go to the bathroom. I look at Justine. I was like, "You think I can get away with stealing one without him noticing?" And even though I should have stolen, like the easy thought would be stealing one from Justine, but I knew I was also going to pass Chris after this, so
Mhm.
he was going to steal my buddy on the next turn. I think this is like the logistics of it, but I don't know. Uh, so I stole one from him while he was away, and of course he starts walking back like as the animation is going, and Justine yells, "Chris, can you grab me a water, please?" And he does that, but he comes back and it's still showing that like I stole it from him. And he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's funny.
And he's getting mad because um at that point I should have stolen it from Justine, but
Mhm.
to get to the end of the story, he ends up taking my buddy and getting 2 stars
There you go.
anyway. So I'm like, yeah, see, this was the right move. I knew you'd pull off something like that. So
Yeah, that's a crazy map because if you get a high enough roll, which is very easy because you're constantly getting a ton of items to do so, you can get a high enough roll that if you have a buddy, you could get the star, which when you have a buddy, you can buy an additional one, and
mhm.
then and hit Boo within that turn probably and steal 2 stars. So you could have a 4-star swing on one turn.
Yeah,
And probably I think there's the like chance time space or whatever where you can like trade stars or like do shit like that, right? Or like steal a star if you like
Yeah.
time the jumps and stuff. I think that's right after Boo, or right? Maybe it's right before Boo, but like you could do
I
all
think it's a
that
little
within
bit
like
after, yeah.
you could do all that within like 1 to 2 turns and have like a 5 to 6 star swing just like that. It's crazy. And you earn like a ton of coins and stuff on that board. So
Yeah. That one's fun. That
it
was a good
is.
one to do 20 rounds on.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. That's the one we did 30 on when my brother and his wife were visiting, and it definitely felt like a really good. And we kept like just coming back to the game. We would like, go get dinner and then play a couple rounds that
Mhm.
night, and then go to bed, get up the next day, play a couple rounds, stuff like that. So that is a good one.
Yeah, it's hard. I honestly, and we played all the way through, which like I like, but yeah, like you said, you can just kind of put your console into sleep mode, come back to it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think 10 rounds is enough.
I don't think so either.
Like I just don't enjoy it. And I've lost every time I've done 10 rounds.
Yeah, that's why I
Maybe
hate it
that has
too.
something to do with it, but I don't feel like you get far enough in. Like you can't actually like strategize. It's 100% luck at that point.
Yeah, you don't get enough like true Mario Party like fuckery in a 10
Yeah.
round game. Like it'll still happen, but just not to the extent. I feel like, 20 rounds definitely gives enough room to breathe there. Maybe 15, but
I was gonna say, I think even 15 would be better.
yeah,
I do think that the buddy mini games take way too fucking long.
agreed. Agreed. I would just prefer. I know it doesn't always work out the way because like the bonus that the person who like gets to the buddy receives doesn't always like just give them the win, but it does give a good advantage.
Mhm.
Just fucking give them the buddy. That's Mario Party luck, right? Like just like a star when it moves can move right 2 spaces in front of you, a buddy can come onto the board and be 2 spaces in front of you, and that's life. They still give you the like the ability to like steal the buddy by like just going past the person and stuff like that. So like,
Right. It literally takes like no effort to get the buddy after the game.
yep,
Like you literally just have to pass somebody.
right. So I agree. The buddy mini games are the thing that really tank the time.
Yeah. And in a 20 round game, I think we had like 3 or 4 buddies.
Yeah,
Probably
that
3.
that probably sounds about right.
I think that all hinges on how fast somebody gets one too.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, Mario Party, pretty great.
good game, great game,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. Good
I
week.
but
Said it was a good week.
very good week. Sounds very good. I mean, any week where you get to play Ghost of Tsushima is, come on.
Yeah. Come on.
I finally dove back into Hogwarts Legacy
Oh yeah.
after having not played that since January. So shout out to my decision to buying a bunch of games before playing slop on PlayStation Plus. Uh, but with that finally in my rear view, I'm like, oh, I can finally enjoy games that I bought again. And so I started diving back into Hogwarts Legacy. And that game is just so okay. Like the more I'm
Ex-
playing, like I'm having fun with it, and
sure.
like, you know, but man, I just like I feel like it got all that attention, and I feel like people were so upset that it didn't get like enough attention at the Game Awards and stuff like that. And I'm like playing it, I'm just like, yeah, I don't think this is really that amazing of a game. I mean, like again, I think honestly the only thing that really carries it is the fact that like it utilizes such a well-known IP.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe if this was attempting to be a full-on new IP, um, it would have a really tough time selling people on it being a good game. So I think people had some, rose tinted glasses when playing the game, just simply because of the IP. Because the bones are just, again, they're fine. Um, and I've just been noticing I'm not normally like a graphics snob or anything like that by any means. I'm normally quite the opposite. But there's just so many it's just not like smooth or like very nice to look at. It's like it's just so clunky at times the way like the hair on people sits, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel like other PS5 games at this
Hmm.
point. Um, and it had like a whole thing where it released only on the next gen consoles. I don't even know if it ended up coming out. I think it did at this point. It was supposed to, I think, like mid this year, come out for like Switch and then PS4, and they had like separate releases for those.
It did come out for Switch because that's the only console I've like actually seen it on.
Okay,
Like watch somebody play it on.
yeah, yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
rough, but it worked.
it's just, and again, like the thing that probably matters the most, which is like the combat and stuff, that is enjoyable. So like I am having fun with that. But man, like anytime I'm talking to somebody, I'm just like, oh my fucking god, this looks like dog shit. And like bees are getting like just like stuck on people's faces, and it just looks so bad in those moments that I'm just like, just tell me where to go. I'm gonna go there and and do whatever it is I need to do there. So that's fun. Um, what else? Oh, Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
That came out on PlayStation a couple months ago at this point, and um, Shelby and I had played it on our one friend's Xbox, and we were like, "Oh my god, this game's sick! This is awesome! This needs to come to PlayStation." And then it finally did, and so we had gotten in, and Shelby had been playing it from time to time. She really enjoys it, and then we started playing it a bit more, um, and kind of like started fresh on my account. That game is it's just so easy to just get like sucked in and just like kill like an hour, 2 hours, just like that. Because it's just so mindless and effortless and very addicting. So I've been playing that too. Very fun.
That's a game that I have to remember would probably work really well on xCloud, just like with touch controls.
Mm-hmm.
All that being said, I'm pretty sure it's native on Android now.
It is indeed. Well, it's on the Apple App Store, so I would imagine if it's there,
I think it is. Let me see. Should
it would
download
have
that.
to be. But yeah,
That'd be a great mobile game.
yep, yep. That's a
Seems
game.
like it.
That's a game that would have thrived on the Vita.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Now here's a game. All right, you said something that just triggered Chris Collinsworth in my head. So
I was like, is there more to that? Uh,
just Chris Collinsworth.
just Chris Collinsworth. But yeah, I think that's it. Well, that's all I have to report on. So let's report on some unfortunate news. You pointed out right before we started that it kind of feels like we've had an episode like this not too long ago when we talked about
Yeah.
Concord. And I think, yeah, this is going to kind of mimic that in a lot of ways. Instead of hammering PlayStation for poor decisions, instead, the the company that's getting the hammers today is Ubisoft, which I think we've given our fair share of scrutiny towards Ubisoft. Um,
Mm,
no, you don't think so?
Mm,
You think we've given them a lot of passes? I think we have given them a lot of passes, but I feel like we've dogged on
it's
them a
not
good
so
bit.
much. It's not so much about giving them passes. It's just about not dogging on them enough.
Okay. Well, here's our opportunity. Because Ubisoft has officially discontinued XDefiant, and on top of that, they are. I want to make sure I get some of the information right there. I guess I don't know if they are. Yeah, okay. They are officially closing down Ubisoft San Francisco and Ubisoft Osaka. And it is believed that 277 people are going to be losing their jobs. And this is from two reports. I've got Tom Henderson on Insider Gaming and also Stephen Totillo um, from what publication?
Did Ubisoft San Francisco do The Crew as well?
Um, it's a good question. No, I feel like why do I feel like that was like Ubisoft Montreal?
Probably because it was. I can't even tell you any games that have come out of Ubisoft San Francisco, and the only reason I know that it exists is because you have to break into it in Watch Dogs 2.
uh, I was gonna say they didn't make Watch Dogs, did they?
I don't think so. I think that was Toronto.
On Ubisoft San Francisco. Open positions, communications, public relations intern. Well, not for long, buddy. Anti cheat engineer, XDefiant. This is just sad. um. Oh man. So yeah. So the main reason is XDefiant, which was their attempt to wade into the. They specifically wanted uh the game to compete with Call of Duty. Um, we talked about Concord not too long ago, and that was kind of wading into the whole like hero shooter, but entering the space of like there's already a ton of games, you know, that either provide this type of experience for free or have just kind of effectively in the public eye perfected it to some degree that it is a stupid endeavor. Um, because I think there's just something that these games have, which is like, the time and the experience and stuff like that, that is so hard to just jump from, point zero to try and just immediately be at the level of these things, right? Like Call of Duty has how many years of, call it goodwill, I guess, in the public eye, right? As being the game, right?
Yeah.
Since what Call of Duty 4 World at War, right? When they first started doing like the whole online thing.
Call of Duty 4 was Modern Warfare. But yeah, I think it was Modern Warfare, then World of
Yes, you're right. My apologies. Wow, World at War was the fifth Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like it was the first one? But you're right because Black Ops was after Modern Warfare 2.
And I do think that Call of Duties before that technically had online, but
Did they?
obviously having online on anything before Modern Warfare was an endeavor in itself.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, going on like 20 years, right, of just being again the game in the public's eye as
Yeah.
like, and we joke about it all the time that you will just have people whining and bitching about the newest Call of Duty, how the last Call of Duty was the one that had finally perfected it, though at the beginning of that Call of Duty, they were also bitching about that one, right? And it just doesn't matter. It just does not matter because it's the game. It's it's where the most people are at, so you just put up with it or whatever. the case may be, it's just positioned itself that like I genuinely wonder if it could possibly be dethroned. I question if they could even mess it up so badly that it would even be capable of being dethroned. Um, and so again, you have a company that has a strong track record of games themselves, but just not this genre going, we can do this too. Watch us. And ton
Overwatch us.
yeah, Overwatch us. Tons of public outcry about it saying this isn't what we want. Please don't do this. They move forward with it anyway. They give it a longer ramp and runway than Concord received, but in the end, it's the same outcome. And
Mm.
it's just super frustrating to again see the like I'm not saying the public's always right, but you get enough public backlash to a game and a decision such as this one, and to just have leadership be so arrogant to just move forward with it, and then 277 people end up losing their jobs, and leadership is, you know, no impact whatsoever. You get a memo from Yves Guillemot saying, "Yeah, it's been a while since I've talked to you, but I'm talking to you again, so you know what that means.
Mhm.
Bad news."
You may have noticed that you couldn't get into your computer this morning to read this email.
Just just super frustrating.
So, sorry, that was probably annoying. Um, I would love to know the finances behind this. Like, how much in the endeavor of creating something that technically like has endless potential for income, which is like
Hmm.
what they're going for with these online games, even if they're free, but with like microtransactions or even having a subscription service, like something that people can sink a ton of money into endlessly. In the pursuit of that, how much money has been lost trying to achieve that?
Uh,
Solely because a paid game is beating them.
right. I mean, I think any amount of money is too much money, right? Like
Yeah.
to lose on an endeavor like this, because
So
it's something that you shouldn't have even attempted in the first place.
so when does the model shift back to just like everyone's staying in their lanes? Make a $70 single player game or a $70 game that has multiplayer and then like also you can buy add-ons and stuff like it used to be. Like that's guaranteed money.
Right.
And like how many people played XDefiant and didn't make a single purchase?
Right.
Because like that game, don't get me wrong, and I think this was an issue, and I can get more into it later. But like, I played the beta for XDefiant, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I haven't played an online shooter like that in a really long time.
Sure.
But I felt like it was enough. Like I didn't feel like I needed to pay anything more to enjoy it. Uh, so like, even if I had known that it was technically out to the public, which I didn't, uh, I wouldn't have paid anything to play it. I would have literally just played it for free. And I can't imagine that like I'm in the minority.
No, I don't
I
think
guess
so at
I'm
all.
often wrong.
No, I really don't think so. I mean, we're we're in a time where people, are very worried about, what their money is going to, right? And like
Mhm.
it's I think why these like subscription services have, blown up to the point that they have, and it's why you get people who do just play Call of Duty, right? Because it's like that's $70 if you buy the Ultra Deluxe or whatever, you're right? Like you pay $120 for a single game, and it's like this is gonna just be my game, and I'm just going
Right.
to play this game because I spent an arm and a leg for it. And oh, you know what? I'll also play Fortnite or Apex with, with the bros because that shit's free, and it's just something to change up the pace a little bit that I can dive into and sink some time into, away from Call of Duty if I'm starting to get a little frustrated with that. But I
Well, it's
already spent
free.
$120, so why am I going to pay even more money on top of that? I think a lot of people
Right.
probably interact that way. But enough people also at the same time do just say, this free to play game is my only game, so I will spend $15 or whatever every couple of months because it's the only thing I'm spending money on at that point, and I might as well support the game or whatever they think, or because they want that new dance emote, and and that's also perfectly valid, and then that's also enough for you know the companies that put out these games.
But I do think the big point that you made there is people are conscious of where they're spending their money.
1000%.
And and that's why it's going to be hard to have another Apex or Fortnite or Overwatch or whatever the other big hero shooters are, because like Fortnite has longevity. I mean, they have such a good model for keeping that game relevant. So
Yeah.
when you go on there and you're spending $20 a month on skins and emotes and things like that, you can be pretty confident you're going to get to use them for a while.
Right.
Whereas like a game like XDefiant, you don't know if it's going to be a flash in the pan. So like at least for the first year, you're not going to buy anything. And you're just going to play the game, and that's like if Ubisoft sees that and says, "Oh, nobody's spending money on this game. It's a dud. Let's just cut our losses and pull the plug." You know, of course that's going to happen.
Yeah, and also, I
But if
mean,
you get
go ahead.
say if you get something like Rainbow Six, where like, of course that was a paid game. I think when you and I got it,
Hmm.
but you know, you don't buy anything for the first year because that game was kind of a dud. Like people really enjoyed it to start the first year, but didn't seem like it was anything super special. And then Ubisoft just put the time and effort in and turned it into a Goliath. And then, like, of course, you're going to start putting more money into it because you know it's going to be around for a while.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think like a perfect metaphor that I can kind of provide is to make it about me a little bit. I desperately need new shorts, like new athletic shorts, right? And there are these like Lululemon shorts that are apparently just the best, but they're like $70. I cannot get myself to spend $70 on a pair of shorts, even if they're going to last forever, right?
Hmm.
I'm just going to go buy the fucking Russell shorts or whatever that are like $10 out of Walmart. And yeah, they'll hold up for like a year and a half. And I'll just go probably buy another pair.
Here's
Like,
my thing with basketball shorts or athletic shorts is I have the same pairs that I had in middle school. Like all the Kohl's generic
yep.
ones,
Yeah.
the ones with the NBA logo on it.
Yeah. I finally need new ones of those because the elastic is really going on them. If I put my phone
See,
in
the
my pocket,
elastic
my pants
on,
start to fall down.
yeah, yeah, that does happen, but like my ties are still good in mine. My issue with those is that the pockets are just ripping out. So like I'll literally go to put something in my pocket and it'll just smash on the ground.
Yep.
Typically my phone.
Yep.
Or there's the liner between the pocket and the actual shorts, and I'll put my phone what I think is in my pocket, but I'm actually putting it
Yep.
in the physical shorts, and it's all the way down on my knees, and I
Yep.
have to
There
try
you
to
go.
maneuver that out of there.
But I mean, that's the gist, right? Like, it's all about right now being like super conscious with like where you're spending money and how you're spending it and stuff like that, and like things need to truly just be like so proven to get people to change their spending habits to whatever the new thing is.
Hmm.
um and yeah, I mean, that means like, if you're truly going to pursue an endeavor like this, you're probably going to have to provide a ton of goodwill to the customers, extend that to get people to like believe in it. And then there's also just this big issue of you can play X Defiant, right? And you can tell me about how great it is and everything like that, and like how much fun you're having with it, and I'm just gonna go, that's great, dude, but I just want to play Call of Duty. And
Hmm.
then you're going to go, okay, and then we're both going to boot up Call of Duty and we're just going to play Call of Duty. Like, I don't know how you beat that. I don't know how you take that down. I don't know how you, because it's convincing one person isn't enough. You need to convince an entire group of people to make that decision. And if three people just like all that takes up 75 to 80% of their brain is Call of Duty, like those three people are gonna outscore that one person, and the squad is just gonna go play Call of Duty.
Mhm.
And
At this point, the only thing you can do is wait for Call of Duty or Fortnite or Apex to fuck up.
right, and then that goes
That's
back to
all you
my
can do.
beginning point. It's just like, can they even at this point?
No, they
I
can't.
don't think they
Not
can.
not until and here's the thing. We've seen Call of Duty fuck up. And guess what? People still bought it
It just
year
doesn't
over
matter.
year.
It just does not matter.
Yeah. They'll say next year it'll be better. And here's where, I'll really give Activision their flowers. They don't put a dud out there and then just leave it.
No.
Like I genuinely do think they're listening to the community. They make frequent updates and they put them out fast. I mean, Call of Duty can release an absolute turd in November and by January it'll be the only thing anybody's playing.
Yep. 1,000%.
I don't think he can. And here's where I think this is going to go is people are going to start crying monopoly on the online first person shooter market only because nobody else can make a good game
Right.
or a game that's better than Call of Duty. I'm not like I said, I really enjoyed XDefiant. I thought it was really fun. But, a handful of me isn't sustainable.
Right.
I don't know. I I don't think it's possible. I think like Activision is going to have to go bankrupt or Epic or certainly not like nothing. Nobody should even try anything until the next generation is out.
Yeah. It's it's incredibly tough. And I think like I just don't think enough companies are like realistic about what's feasible.
Mm,
Um to kind of turn the scope back and really to focus in on Ubisoft. I think my biggest frustration when it comes to like Ubisoft making these decisions and like PlayStation making these decisions is that they make great single player experiences. Well, Ubisoft, maybe the quality's starting to slip there, but it is their bread and butter at the end of the day. Um, and not to say that like growth and change is inherently bad and like trying something new is bad. I just think it's so frustrating because I don't see these attempts to wade into the like online PvP competitive. Yeah, I don't see it as anything but like the shareholders dollar signs, in their
mm,
eyes. And I just think it's really frustrating because I think it just discredits that single player experiences are viable. And you said it, right? Like just go back to making single player experiences, lock a few story missions behind DLC that could have totally just been in the base game, and you're good. You'll print money on that. It'll be fine. Sure, it won't that game itself will not continue to print money 14 years into its life like some of these other games are able to do, but it also isn't going to or shouldn't like hemorrhage a ton of money
yeah.
at the same time, right? Like it's just the safe thing. That is the actual cash cow, right? Now anymore, I get that like the cost of making some of these games is so freaking bloated at this point. But I mean that's a whole nother issue to tackle because I don't think we need to spend $1 trillion to make the graphics, you know, as realistic as possible. I think we've kind of hit a threshold there. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean it's like it's super frustrating that, you know, it feels like single player games just those don't work anymore. And it's like, look at fucking 2023. I mean, 2023 was such a phenomenal year for game releases. And I mean, PlayStation, just look at your PS4 lineup, right? Like the exclusives you released on that console, which probably didn't even hold a candle to what the PS3 did and stuff like that, right? But like, you have this track record of all the games that you've done and all of their successes, to just go like, yeah, but here's this idea out of left field, and to not be a unique experience, and to just be something that's already out there. And it's the whole thing of like, look at Helldivers 2 versus Concord, right? Like,
Mhm.
Helldivers 2, show me another game that was doing that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just super frustrating that you get a company like PlayStation, and then you get a company like Ubisoft, and you watch them just dump and dump and dump money into a an idea such as this, and you hear the public outcry going, "Don't do this. We're not going to play it. We're telling you we're not going to play it." And for leadership to just say, "Yeah, but once it's out, I think they're going to play it." Then you release it. Then you have bad player numbers. Then those player numbers only dwindle. And then you lay off an entire studio. You shutter
Hmm.
a studio. You try to move around some of the more talented people if you can. All while leadership continues to cash their bonuses. It's just so incredibly frustrating.
If you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago if I ever thought I would say this, I would say absolutely not. I got to be honest with you. I hope Ubisoft fucking dies.
In game? Question mark?
Yeah, in game, of course. No, I hope they get dissolved. I
It-
just it's annoying. They're not listening at all.
yeah, it's super frustrating. It
They're
is.
the epitome of like corporate, overly corporate video game development. And I can't believe they have any money. I can't believe they're not completely bankrupt. And honestly, I think we're going to hear it in the next 2 years.
I
If they
mean,
don't change their shit, if they don't fire their leadership and try again, I don't think there's going to be a Ubisoft in 2 to 3 years.
I just don't understand. Like, I wonder what these fucking meetings are like, right? Where like, do they really just sit around and go, well, I guess, what if we did Assassin's Creed again? Or
Yeah.
what if we made a online shooter um that's totally new, has no name power behind it, right? Because you brought up Rainbow Six. At least Rainbow Six, when it came out, sure, it was kind of, it came out kind of flat, and then it kind of grew from there. But it had the name, right? Like, I think Rainbow Six had some good name power still, and when that came out, that gave it the little bit of an extra push, I think, to get get started out of the gate. Again, whether it was a little flatter than you would have probably hoped for a game like that. And then it grew from there, and they did a fine job with it. But to just like XDefiant, like, what the fuck is that? There's no name power there.
Hmm.
And so like, I just don't know. Again, it's my whole thing with Hogwarts Legacy. It's probably the whole thing with Star Wars Outlaws too, right? Like, and that even did poorly by Ubisoft standards. And honestly, by the standards of a game that has fucking Star Wars in the name, you probably would expect it to have done much better. And it's very like upsetting, honestly. Um, but like, the name will carry it so much. Imagine if Star Wars Outlaws didn't have Star Wars tied to it, and it was just a new game that they tried to make. There's just no way, right? That would have moved enough people, especially with Ubisoft's like track record here lately.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way that they could have made it successful is if they would have thrown Tom Clancy in the name. Like genuinely,
Yeah.
it's one of the like it's one of those IPs where people will just at least shoot first and ask questions later on.
Yeah. 100%.
All that being said, I guess we're talking about XDefiant, and that I think technically was a Tom Clancy game.
Oh, really?
Well, it's that universe. Oh no, it's not. It wasn't because it had Watch Dogs in it. Never mind. Um, maybe I was thinking of whatever that Rainbow Six game that had fucking monsters in it for whatever reason.
Quarantine?
Is that what it was?
Pandemic?
So I think people enjoyed that for a short period of time. So
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that though, which
yeah,
is telling. Extraction. Rainbow Six Extraction.
yes, that was
It
it.
was originally going to be called Quarantine, and then something happened.
Well, I think they got rid of the single player. It was like actually supposed to be like a story mode,
Oh, that's right.
and then they got rid of that, made it like a hero or a PvE kind of thing. And they changed the name of it entirely. Yeah, remember Rainbow Six Patriots?
Yeah, remember Rainbow Six? Remember Rainbow Six Las Vegas too?
Yeah, great game.
Um, yeah. I don't know how much more I have left to say. I just it really frustrates me,
Yeah.
that we keep seeing this. And again, you brought it up before we started the podcast. It feels like we just had an episode like this, and it's like, yeah, and clearly, people are just leadership are just not learning the fucking lesson with any of these things.
Yep.
So
Well,
I can't wait to see what's next.
I imagine that we'll see a visit from gaming angel investor Phil Spencer soon.
You think?
No, I think somebody will. I don't think somebody's going to buy Ubisoft and keep the Ubisoft branding. I think like EA might buy the rights to the IP or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like we're headed that way. I would agree that. And I mean, what's even worth it anymore? From Ubisoft, what even has
I
value
mean, I think
that
like
hasn't been
another Watch
tanked?
Dogs game would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. But like, is there enough there? I think
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think Watch Dogs was a lot of fun, but like, is there enough good public perception?
I mean, Legion certainly didn't help. I enjoyed Legion,
You're
but
right. I thought it was very fun, but
I don't know.
obviously
What is like their biggest?
Assassin's Creed has name power, but like, but again,
I
how
don't
much
hear
of that has been
anybody.
tanked over the years?
Yeah, I don't hear like anybody talking about playing Assassin's Creed.
Didn't a new Assassin's Creed just come out?
I'm trying to remember if one actually came out this year or if they pushed it back. I have no idea.
Just crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy, crazy. And you said it like 10 years ago. We would both be saying like Ubisoft is our most owned like games, right? Like,
Yeah. It felt like for two generations we were playing either like Sony first party games or Ubisoft games.
yep. They had that good formula and everything, and then it just got stale, and they just didn't adapt.
Yep.
Frustrating. All right. Anything else from you?
Nope, pouring out for Ubisoft,
Pour
hopefully.
pour one out for Ubisoft. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. We are just a little bit over a week away from the Game Awards, so I'm assuming, barring any like shocking news, next week maybe we'll do a little bit of a you know guess at what's going to be at the Game Awards. Maybe try to predict some of the winners and stuff like that. Um, so you can look forward to that, and then after that, it'll be our normal end of the year stuff, breaking down the Game Awards, breaking down just the year in general, and looking ahead to 2025. But yeah, that does it for this episode. Let us know your thoughts on Ubisoft, where your trust lies with them. You can let us know over on our YouTube channel in the comments section over there. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you could leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to the podcast, that would also be greatly appreciated. And if you could share the podcast with a friend, it would help us out. Other than that, we will talk to you next week.